You buy Franco Trading Enterprise. Still, fun papa fee.
And you're still watching Prime On. And this segment is proudly brought to you by Franco Trading Enterprise. Still phone papa fee. Whatever gadget you're looking for, whether mobile phones, televisions, CCTV cameras, we say worry no more because we've got you covered. Now, we can actually deliver it to you at your doorstep, but to make things very simple, why don't you download the app on your phone, which is the Franco Trading app. Franco Trading app. Now, when you do this, you make things very easy. You sit in the comfort of your home, order any item of your choice, and we'll deliver it to you at the comfort of your home. Now, if you're watching us right now, you look on the screen, you see the numbers appearing on your screen. Yes, that's our number. You can pick the number and call us, and of course, trust us to serve you, trust us to deliver. And for further inquiries, you can visit our website, www.francotradingenterprise.com. Franco Trading Enterprise, still, phone papa fee. Now, today, I want to make you a part of our conversations like we always do. Okay, so don't forget to join us on Facebook as we're streaming live on Facebook. You can leave your comments there. We want to concentrate on two main topics that's been trending since yesterday, and I'm talking about the Council of State elections, which were placed on hold. Certain areas were placed on hold. However, yesterday, the elections had to take place in the Ashanti region, but there were a few issues that took place where one person has been arrested. We'll talk about that. And then we'll also talk about the former finance minister who has been declared a fugitive by the Office of the Special Prosecutor. And yesterday, there was an official flyer that was released for him being wanted. And so a few, has brought in mixed reactions. The NPP has reacted to this, saying that this is uncalled for. And it's sensational because it's not a situation that cannot be resolved. Now, the Office of the Special Prosecutor is also saying that they need to get their work done and they'll make sure they get it done. But where is the former finance minister? His lawyers wrote a letter to the Office of the Special Prosecutor on the 31st of January stating that the man was sick and couldn't be around. And once he is around, he will definitely make an appearance. But it seems like that has fallen on the deaf ears of the Office of the Special Prosecutor. We'll delve into that as well. But we need you to be a part of our conversation this morning. And so as much as possible, do send your messages to us on Facebook, and on WhatsApp is 055-157-5757, 055-157-5757. Representing the NDC this morning is the very own Benjamin Kwashi. Good morning, Benjamin.
Good morning, Rosalyn. How are you?
I'm good. How are you too?
Very well, thank you.
Great. And, a lot is happening with regards to the Council of State and all of that. We'll delve into that.
Very well.
And then we'll also delve into, Office of the Special Prosecutor and the former finance minister. That brouhaha, we never saw this coming anyway. Yeah. This is quite deep. We never saw it coming. I'll quickly take the newspapers. We are still waiting for Honorable Michael Edu to join us, and he'll be representing the NPP, so we are waiting for him to join us. But I'll start with the newspapers. I'll start with the New Republic newspaper, the New Republic. Commissioner General under SML gavels over alleged information concealment. Valentine's Day massacre at NCA, Safo son asked. Mahama government faces enemy trap as Galamsey Mineral Commission boss sells community mining sites. Wow, really? Courtroom drama, suspect nabbed in daring escape bid during land road drama. And that'll be all for the New Republic newspaper. The next newspaper is the Daily Graphic. The Daily Graphic newspaper assigned governance role to chiefs. Dr. Dufour says so. National Education Forum opens today. Thank God. Over last week, it wasn't over the weekend, actually last week, Friday, here at Joy Prime, we had Education Forum, which we focus on the free SHS and how to make it better. And now there's going to be a National Education Forum, which starts today. So if you can be a part of it, please make sure that your voice is heard. Ashanti Northeast elect reps for Council of State. And yesterday, like I said, Ashanti did it, but there was a bit of, misunderstanding, a bit of chaos where one person got arrested. Reset agenda. President names 3 key tasks. All right, and Manson Kwanta MP urges government to position Ghana as chocolate hab. That's not a bad one, though. The next newspaper is the Overseer newspaper. Jakpa entered Ken's house with arrest warrant. National Security is telling us this. Save Cindy Smile, a decade-long battle against a life-threatening tumor. All right, please, if you can, kindly do that. Atta Forson suffered worse prosecutorial abuse. Bryce Simmons tells us this. All right, and we have NPA boss tours fuel installations in Tema and Inzima NDC executives back appointment of acting CEO Ghana Gas CEO. Okay, acting Ghana Gas CEO. Sorry. All right. That'll be it for the Overseer newspaper. The final newspaper is the Ghanaian Times newspaper. The Ghanaian Times. No agreement to extend IMF program, President Mahama tells us. Dagbon overlord pays historic reciprocal visit to Gonja King. Irrigation for wealth creation phase 1. Government targets 10,000 hectares in 8 regions to boost agri production. This is good news, though. And another news that came up yesterday, Professor Salifo Amuakun, 2 others rearrested. I think yesterday, we heard that the case had been dropped by the Attorney General, and right after that, he and his spouse got rearrested. And I know that we'll get developing stories out of that very, very soon where we can tell you more about it. But for now, all we know is that he and his spouse have been rearrested. Anyway, so let's deal with our conversation for this morning. Probably we should start with the Council of State issue, where one person got arrested yesterday. As to why one will even decide to cause any kind of mayhem during an election, it doesn't even make sense. But we ask ourselves, do we need that at this point in time where we've gotten to as a country where we speak of democracy? Do we have to have these kind of actions taking place during elections, or we can actually have peaceful elections? I mean, we've seen it during general elections and all, but who would have thought that Council of State elections will see something like this? Honorable Michael Edu has joined us this morning, and he's representing the NPP. Good morning, Honorable.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm good, and yourself?
I'm fine, thank you. It's good to have you.
Same.
All right, since you just joined, I'll start the conversation with Benjamin, who's representing the NDC. Benjamin, I mean, this chaos, I don't know, it's, for me, Council of State, I don't know how we got here. Is this something that we as citizens, we are not doing right? Is this something that the EC is not doing right? Is this something that there's too much hunger, so everybody wants to grab something in position? That is why we are seeing these things too often.
Very well. I think that is very unfortunate what happened yesterday. And even before that, we've had cause to complain that this whole thing about elections and violence, marring them, it's not the way to go. I think that there's another school of thought that has always indicated that we need to revisit this whole concept of Council of State. And I think that the Constitution is clear. The Constitution says that it is not political. But we've seen people in the NDC claiming victory, and people in the MPP also claiming victory when we go for Council of State elders. I think that it is very important for us to recognize the significant role that the Constitution tries to place on the Council of State, the role that they are supposed to dispense in a current dispensation. Again, I think that it should go to the heart of this whole concept of us asking for what we call a constitutional review. Can we look again at the Council of State? Can we redefine them? I think that now people jump into the Council of State for whatever reasons that they have, and that is not what the framers of our Constitution thought about the Council of State. It is there to advise the president. It is there to advise him on very key governmental issues. And I think that if we are having this political undertones to do with candidates that seek election into the Council of State, I think it's not going to augur well. Because somebody was asking yesterday, how do you expect somebody from the MPP winning a Council of State seat to advise the president? So the whole concept is what I think that we should revisit and see how we can be able to take out the politicization and focus on development in terms of national issues. In other jurisdictions, there are bodies that advise the president.
Yeah.
And I think that it is a very good initiative that we have in this country, but we have turned everything upside down, and then the role that they are supposed to do. People apply to be in Council of State. They go through the normal voting period, and we are told that monies are also exchanged. And I think that this is a shame, because it is a body that we are supposed to elect reputable people with knowledge, people with wisdom, people with age, to be able to advise our president. And I think once we start our constitutional reviews, we should look at it and fine-tune it so that it benefits the good people of God.
I like that. The constitutional review, I hope that very, very soon.
Yes.
I know the committee has been set, and I'm hoping that we'll hear something out of it, because after the committee was set, nothing has been heard yet.
No, they are working.
Yes. So we hope that we hear something about it. But that's a very good point, because I don't know how we got here, Michael. For the NPP, again, it became a situation where we also need our member to be one of the Council of State members. And the NDC says, no, you can't have an NPP person being a Council of State member.
Rosalind, it's not exactly so. Not that MPP needs its member to be a Council of State. You see, the Constitution is quite clear. It elaborates how members of the Council of State are selected. You need to get somebody from the armed forces who has been a previously Chief of Defense Staff, a Chief Justice, a former IGP, a former member of the National House of Chiefs. All these people are put together. And then the president also elects his own people to be part. And then elected people from all the regions in the country. So this is where the issue is. Electing people to represent the region. And quite clearly, when you go to the Ashanti region,
it's an MPP zone.
It's an MPP zone.
Yeah.
So if the region is electing someone to represent the region, when we say Council of State, they counsel the president. They give the president advice. So if you look at the Constitution, most of the appointments, for instance, if the president has to appoint an electoral commission, he has to seek the advice of the Council of State. If the president has to appoint even diplomats, he has to seek the advice of the Council of State. There are positions like the Auditor General, the Public Services Commission, and all those positions that the president needs to seek the advice of the Council of State. So the individual is not going to represent an MPP or NDC. The individual is going to represent the region. But what has happened in this country from time immemorial is that various elections are characterized by members of both parties. That was why, at a point in time, people felt that even the district assembly elections for selecting assembly members, it should be open to political parties to be able to participate fully and shouldn't be made a non-partisan election. But then others thought otherwise, that we shouldn't make it non-partisan. But if you even go down to district assembly elections, it is partisan. Sometimes when you go around and you look at the posters that people make, when you see a green poster, you know the person is NDC. If you see a poster with some blue in it, you know the person is an MPP. Quite interestingly, what is very unfortunate about the Council of State elections in the Ashanti region is the fact that in the first round of the election, it was clear that Nana Nkansa Boadu had won clearly. He had led by about 49 votes, and then thugs were allowed into the premises to scatter the whole thing. They destroyed ballots and...
who allowed them into the premises?
You put the blame squarely on the security services. You put the blame squarely on the security service. And as such, as much as possible, the NDC party in the region, because the thugs were led by the party to the venue. And in the second round-up, you could see proper whipping in Parliament. We say this is a three-line whip. Proper whipping. Assembly members were put in a bus, led by the regional chairman of the party.
Which party?
NDC.
NDC.
Driven, the videos are online. You see the regional chairman leading them, and then they formed a line with the assembly members coming out, holding hand so that nobody even gets to talk to them. They brought them from wherever to the venue and to make sure that they voted. You know, even...
But are they qualified electorates?
As to whether they are qualified, I will not be able to tell.
Okay.
But
because you see, as we speak...
Quite interestingly, there's a process for this. They are supposed to elect 2 members from each district assembly or municipal assembly. So the various assemblies will sit down and elect amongst them 2. Normally, what they do is that they will elect the presiding member of the municipal or district assembly and maybe 1 government appointee. So in previous elections, what normally happens is that when they go to vote, because the government appointee is appointed by the party in power, already the party in power has some votes there, and then the presiding members add to those votes. Then the individual is elected. Quite unfortunately for the NDC, and I sympathize with them, they had not elected their government appointees. So they had to elect 2 people from the district assembly to go and cast the votes. And obviously, 2 people from the district assembly, they could vote anywhere they want.
Yeah.
Then, after the first incidents where they brought the tax to destroy the ballot and everything, they had to then rush to swear in the various government appointees. So in my constituency, assembly members were there, and then they were just informed with a letter that swearing in of government appointees was ongoing. They were not even aware. It was one afternoon around 3 o'clock that I learned that something was going on. I called assembly members, some were not aware. They found out, I have the letter here. They had been given a letter that they had brought a judge in to swear in all government appointees on their blind side. They sworn in the assembly members all over the region, the government appointees, so that they can elect people to add to the various other elected members to go and cast the vote. So there was proper 3-line weapon. You could see that it was a machination by the regional minister and the party. And quite interestingly, after the election, the regional minister took to his Facebook post that who say God no day. I'm sure he wanted to say who say man no day, but he so that it doesn't affect people's sensibilities, he wrote who say God no day and some other comments. But what I would like to say is that we are building a democracy, and some of the excesses that we are deploying now, if you are not careful as political parties, very soon, people will start to build defensive mechanisms against these things. And when it gets to election, everybody will put their tax on the side and prepare them for the unlikely events. And I don't think that is the road that we want to go as a country.
Okay. Benjamin, you want to react to that?
Yeah, quickly. I think that when Honorable was speaking, good points. It comes back to the politicization of everything in Ghana. And I think that you don't put the blame on one political party. It is a collective responsibility of all the political parties in this country. The NDC, MPP,
But Benjamin, you agree that is the problem we have, because we can't even name and shame. No. When clearly we know that someone has done something, then we say, oh, let's massage it and blame MPP, NDC, when we know clearly where the problem came from.
So I want him to land in.
It is true, and I've stated it that most often when certain things happen to one political party, and I've always had cause to say the MPP, the double standards. If something is not right and they perpetuate it, it is okay. But the moment another political party comes to do the same thing that they did, it becomes a problem. For example, typical example, what happened in Parliament, where Afenyo Markins took to the Supreme Court. It is something that happened, and I remember quite well that the Honorable Haruna Idrisu told them that you are setting a bad precedent. At that time, because it benefited them, it was okay. So like he's saying, we should all continue to name and shame, irrespective of the political parties that we find ourselves in. Because if we don't do that, then it becomes a problem. People in the NDC will say that, I've seen a lot of things going on that I'm not happy about. It's not only me. There are people in the NDC that have cause to complain. But the moment you start talking, people ask you, when they were doing it, what did you say? Typical example of what the Honorable Mahama Ayariga did in Parliament. I thought that was leadership in apologizing to the Honorable Ken Ofori-Atta. But again, people asked, when these same things were meted out to James Adjeni Mboate, was meted out to John Jinapo, same thing happening to Dominic Ayeni, did they come to say, we are sorry? No, they felt that the law was being applied. So let's stop the double standards. And I'm sure that if we all focus and say that we are building a nation, then we will not have this excess. But insofar as we continue to say, oh, it's good because my party is in power, the next party that comes also will do the same thing because we are all Ghanaians. And I think that, Rosalind, that is what we have to move away from. Again, it takes me to the Constitutional Review Committee.
Yeah.
I think that every citizen of this country should participate in it because there are a lot of things. The Constitution, for me, it has outlived its days. A lot of things have to be fine-tuned in the Constitution. Some have to be removed. I have said that the arbitrary powers that the Constitution gives to the president of our land, for me, it's just way too much. Certain appointments that the president makes, no. He will put his political people there. And those appointments are not supposed to be for politicians. And I think that once the committee starts sitting and then we are supposed to all make inputs as a nation, let's do it collectively so that we build our nation for a better Ghana.
Right. Now, even the MMDCs and the, Council of State, it's not supposed to be political, but it's become political. So even in the Constitution, although it's not supposed to be political, it's political. Yeah. So how do we fight this whole thing where it's like wherever we find ourselves, politics is finding its face there? Is it that Ghanaians are too hungry? And I go back to the same question. Ghanaians are too hungry. They feel that when they get power, they get the money. And so everybody is grabbing some sort of money in that power space, especially the political space. Because back then, we were seeing things like that.
President, our politics have been, it's about money. I remember the Honorable Kennedy Japan saying that, look, in this country that we call Ghana, if you don't have money, you can't do politics. Rather unfortunate. Rather unfortunate.
Michael, you agree?
It's quite unfortunate, but then it's not just in Ghana. Sometimes when you look at even in the US, the budget of political parties and politicians, they are quite outrageous. But then the systems there provide that people contribute, people do donations, even businesses which align to particular political parties can donate and show clearly how much they donated in their books. But here, quite interesting.
And it's transparent there as well. Because I remember very well, when Kamala lost, they told us how much money she made, how much she lost, and how much debt she had incurred.
Exactly. Yeah. Even in Senate elections, they're able to tell how much senators are able to raise. But here, everything is done under wraps.
Exactly.
Everything is done under wraps. And quite interesting, we are a society that we are now building our democracy. So even sometimes, genuinely, people will contribute towards a particular election. But the moment it comes out that my brother here contributed to, let's say, Dr. Baumia's election, you should know that in the unlikely event that his party doesn't win or that particular party doesn't win, he's going to be under severe scrutiny. Yeah. From whoever comes.
What should they be?
And even if he's not lucky, his business will be punished for it.
Exactly.
That's sad.
Exactly.
That's the reason why people do not want to come out even when they are supporting. And it also breeds corruption. Because what happens is, eventually, fine, we understand that even in the Western walls, there are governments come to power and they give those who supported contracts and so on. If you go to the US, the military contracts and so on, it goes to people who supported the regime that was in power. I was listening to Donald Trump talking about some companies that have benefited in the past regime and so on. So it happens everywhere. There was a time that I was listening to an elderly man, and he said, businesses fund politicians, politicians make businesses thrive.
Yes.
What is happening is we need to be transparent as possible. But then the greed, that is where the issue is. There was a man advising me sometime, and he said, when you are in leadership, it is like holding a cocoa seed. Cocoa seed, you lick it. You don't bite into it. The moment you bite into it, you meet the bitterness of it.
Yeah.
So when people become so greedy, when you get into leadership, there's a higher possibility that you'll be given some benefits. For instance, you'll be given a vehicle, a V8, sometimes you'll be given a home.
You people haven't given me some.
But you have not received your appointment yet. Maybe
we are waiting for
the president the president will consider you and move you out of Joy Prime. that will be after my honorable member today. He's not here. He has received his own. Yes.
I want to.
Yes. So when all these things come together, it changes your life. It changes your lifestyle. Because there are people who have not even experienced sitting in a four-wheel drive before. Then for the first time in their lives. Or there are people who have just even come from school. Then you are given an appointment and given all these luxuries. Then if you are not able to manage yourself well, you'll be tempted to find means to secure the same, so that when you leave that lifestyle, you don't find yourself in between trying to balance yourself. So some of these things breed greed. And eventually we forget that it is because of the citizens that we are there.
Yeah.
And then we start to chase what we are supposed to give to the citizens. And then at the end of the day, we end up causing problems where we are not supposed to cause. So I think as politicians, we have to look into our inner selves and start to consider what is in the best interest of the nation. What can we do to bring proper development? What can we do so that resources are not dissipated or wasted in the manner that sometimes we see it? And another thing that I think we need to caution ourselves is with the businessmen. Sometimes when businessmen are chasing particular contracts, they are the ones who cause and I will even leave just the business, even the public servants and the civil servants.
They leave what?
They are the ones who create the situation where you see contracts being inflated and so on. Because sometimes the politician may not even have the technical know-how or the technical knowledge of that particular contract. But the civil servants and the businessmen will team together and prepare the documents to the politicians and say, this thing costs this much. Imagine when you go to the road sector, a politician who is coming, who is not an engineer, a road engineer, will not even understand how much goes into the road. For instance, 1 kilometer of road, how much it should cost. It is the civil servants who are there, the technical people who will cost everything and price everything for the politician. They will deal with the contractors to price everything. And at the end of the day, the politician puts a signature to it, because that is why he has been advised. And then it comes and they say, hey, the politician is the corrupt person. So I think it should trickle down from top to down.
But if the politician wasn't getting his cut, he wouldn't put his signature to it, right?
No, but then if you don't understand the technicalities, you know, when you can do your homework, but to some extent, not exactly. Rosalind, as you sit
but
here,
you and I know for a fact that before they append their signature on that, they know they are getting a cut.
I don't know.
You know. You know.
Sometimes, perception is real. We've created a situation where there's perception that everything is about cut in this country. But I have come across genuine people. Who don't do cuts before they look at the interest of the state. But then there
are some people who don't.
We've generalized it to make it look like every politician is out there for his cut.
Well, unfortunately, that is what some of them are doing, and so it's mine the name of politicians. Exactly. It's unfortunate. And, you know, that's why we are seeing these kind of issues coming up during elections, because everybody wants their person on top so that I can go and get a contract and also give a cut and all those things. So if we can only get to that level where people know that they are going to just work for the people, I think that we'll have peaceful elections.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. President, I more than agree to that. And I think, like my good friend has stated, look, it cuts across board. And it cuts across all sectors as well. I've heard people say that politicians don't use their own money to do politics. They use money of investors, financiers. And so this will let the financier also put pressure on you, because you didn't use your money. I gave you the money too. And I think that we should move from there. again, we should ensure, look, we come into office and we know that there's something called asset declaration. People get appointed even before they are told that you have to declare your asset. I think that just like in other jurisdictions where once you are a politician, once you are a public figure, once you are held accountable to the people, nobody should come remind you that you need to declare your asset. I think this is also another way of checking public servants and also politicians. And I think that, Rosalind, we are learning as a nation. We grow each day. And I think once we continue, you see, the nice thing about this current impasse that is happening about the Council of State election, young people have been elected for the first time into the Council of State. I was thinking that this was going to be the topic that we were going to discuss. What do they bring on board? How can we transform the Council of State? Now that we have a 32-year-old or a 38-year-old there. But you see, the violence and the other things that politics has done to us, it's shifted the attention to that. And we are not even talking about the good side. So I believe that, look, we'll get there. We'll get there. It's just a matter of time.
Hopefully, if you haven't sent your messages yet, you can send it to us. Actually, I hope there are messages on Facebook. If there are messages on Facebook, I can start with Facebook. And then if we have messages on WhatsApp too, I can start with either. Either I start with Facebook or WhatsApp. So if you haven't left your message on Facebook, I'll come on Facebook and read. I'll see if I have some messages on WhatsApp. If you want to send your messages, you can go ahead and send it to us on 055 157 5757 055 157 5757. I want to say a very big thank you to Franco Trading Enterprise for always having our back. With Franco Trading Enterprise, we have authentic gadgets. So whether it's mobile phones you're looking for, television sets, CCTV cameras, we say worry no more because we have got you covered. So all you have to do is to download the app on your phone to make things very easy. And the name of the app is Franco Trading App. Franco Trading App. Just download the app. Or if you want to make further inquiries, you can visit our website, www.francotradingenterprise.com. Franco Trading Enterprise, still and still, phone Papa Perfie. I hope the messages are ready so we can actually start off with our messages that have come in. And then, you know, we'll delve into it. But I'm just surprised with regards to this whole issue. I'm hoping that when we talk about this particular issue, if it were me, my family members would have said, Rosalie, show your face before it gets this bad. And it has gotten that bad. We are talking about the former finance minister, Ken Ofori-Atta. Let me read a few messages and then I delve into that particular conversation. All right, so I'll start with this one, and this one says, good morning, Rosalind. The OSP is behaving as if he has a personal problem with Ken Ofori-Atta. Nobody's saying if Ken has done any wrong, he should walk free. You may have a good case, but your approach and management of the case may tend to be a bad case against you. This very OSP is always in a haste and end up losing cases. Typical example is how he handled Cecilia Dapa's case and eventually lost. Today, Council of State election is even chaotic. We should be very careful as a nation and tread cautiously, okay? The NPP should keep quiet and allow the current government to work for the majority of Ghanaians who voted the NDC into power. The Attorney General should stop explaining himself and speed up the prosecution of the looters. Jail them and get our money back. We have not forgotten so soon that they jailed Kwame Pepa, Chachu Chikata, Sepa Yankee, and Victor Salome, who died because of their actions. The NPP can call it witch hunting or wizard hunting. Nobody cares. Afenyo Markin and micro-minority should keep quiet and allow the current government to work for the majority of Ghanaians that voted them into power. They can cry blood, nobody cares. This from Moat inside Asatere. Honorable Akesime from Secretary Bekwai says that congratulations to the winners of the NDC Council of State election. It's not an NDC Council of State election. This is a Council of State election. All right, so you want to say that congratulations to those who belong to the NDC and won, which makes sense. Okay. Yeah. May this election mark the beginning of a new era of progress and development for our great nation. I'm looking forward to seeing the positive impact that this new leadership will bring Good morning to you all. I'm Big J. Tamale. Political leaders have destroyed electoral processes because of their personal interests until the big political parties in this country come together to change the way of handling issues. It will never stop. Double standard is playing much role in our political issues. Let's together condemn let's come together and condemn it as one people. All right, that's a good one. All right, so let's see this one. Good morning, Rosalind. To combat the rising incidents of hooliganism and armed robbery, it's imperative that we bolster our security presence on the roads by establishing more police checkpoints and stations, particularly in identified hotspots. We can effectively deter and respond to criminal activities. In Bechim, for instance, 6 specific locations on the main road have been pinpointed as prone to armed robbery. Strategically placing police stations and checkpoints in these areas will significantly enhance security and provide a safer environment for residents and travelers. This proactive approach will not only help prevent crimes, but also foster a sense of security. Timothy Anabela from Bechim. Thank you, Timothy. Because Ken Ofori-Atta had not come to the office personally, but wrote to them through his lawyers, then the way forward is to declare him wanted. How can it even be possible for the Office of the Special Prosecutor to declare a person wanted or a fugitive when the office hasn't obtained a court order or judgment to that effect? Unless, of course, the rules have suddenly changed. Though the Special Prosecutor's Office will need some level of cooperation and assistance from persons who might have been a party to the investigation or being a suspect, which has to do with providing of evidence if the need be, and to some extent can introduce punishment for these persons if they refuse to comply or help in those investigations. Sometimes please reduce the length of your messages for us. When it's that long, it's a struggle. Good morning. Ken Ofori-Atta is not sick at all. He's just playing some tricks to escape accountability. Why was he not the one eager to work when he was seriously sick? And we Ghanaians say no need for him to continue the work. In fact, that family should not think of coming close to this country again, because they don't mean well for the country except their families and pockets. We have regretted of their role contributed to this country. From Jake Asaman Kese. All right, Eben, I'll read Eben, and then I think I'll just do a few. Good morning, I'm Eben from Kwabenya. I think the Council of State Elections need to be looked at again by the Constitution Review Committee. Why should people going to advise the President on governance also come from MPP or NDC? All right, the future is really pregnant. Greetings to Honorable Eli Klim Akrugu, MP. All right. Good morning, Rosalind. The OSP is behaving as if, I think I've done this one already. Oh, I have a lot of messages. Good morning to you. Community involvement is essential in the fight against corruption. Civil society organizations and media serve as watchdogs, highlighting corrupt practices and advocating for reforms. Encouraging citizens to participate in decision-making processes can foster a sense of ownership and responsibility. Campaigns that raise awareness about the determined effects of corruption can galvanize public opinion against corrupt practices. Aaron Bebako Kokomisa from Amma Florence, Akisme's wife. Hey, Mrs. Akisme, okay. Oh. NPP should know OSP is also a lawyer, so he knows what he's doing. There is no smoke without fire. OSP declared Ofori-Atta wanted. What Ofori-Atta should do now is to send message to the U.S. president to deport Ken Ofori-Atta. Hey, you want deportation? I'll read just this last one and I'll come back and read the rest. Good morning to you. Community involvement. I've done this one. Hey, when you send the messages, you send it again. I'll read them. Good morning, Sister Rose. When it comes to corruption, let us not try to shift blames. Doing so in itself is corruption. The MPP rep is telling us it is civil servants that influence the politicians into engaging in corrupt activities. Please ask him for me. When the corrupt money comes, do the politicians give it to the civil servants? If you're corrupt, you are corrupt. James, Kumbal James from Sunyane. All right, I'll come back and I'll read more of the messages that have come through. But let me go to my next topic, which happens to be the issue with regards to OSP declaring the former finance minister, Ken Ofori-Atta, wanted. Yesterday, they released an official flyer for that, which has caused a lot of, mixed reactions, I must say. The NPP responded to it, saying that this was not a right thing to do, especially knowing very well that the lawyers of the former finance minister had written back to the office of the special prosecutor to let them know that the man was sick and indisposed, and once he's well, he was going to show his face. And so it looked like witch hunting. I want to start this with you, Michael. You think it's witch hunting too?
Rosalind, why not? I think quite recently, Shamima Muslim says something that if it looks like a duck and quacks like a duck, then it's a duck. What is happening is that Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta had communicated his leave of absence to seek medical attention to the former chief of staff, Honorable Frema Opare, and then same had been communicated to Mr. Julius Deborah. And his lawyers had communicated same to the OSP as well. He communicated to Frema Opare even before the government's, the tenure of office of Nanado ended. And in this country, we are all privy to information that Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta has been battling some issues for a while now. And even when he was the finance minister, there was a period that he had to seek medical attention, that people thought that even people circulated information that he had been incapacitated and the situation was that bad. So when he came back to the country, there were people who even started to sympathize with him, looking at his condition.
He had changed.
He had changed. It was so clear that the man had changed. That was not the Ken Ofori-Atta we knew. It took time for him to gain back his strength and everything. And in between, he was replaced with Honorable Amin for the finance ministry. Then
that was the last 6 months.
The last 6 months before elections.
So when he fell sick and he was
about 5 months. Yes.
Absent,
yes.
Nobody replaced him.
No, his deputies were working.
Yeah, so he still was working
exactly.
as the finance
Yeah, but then
minister.
he wasn't in the country. We were aware because it had been published that the finance minister was out of the country for medical reasons. So we know this is a man who's going through, in simple terms, medical issues. Then the OSP comes out that he should return. Even if you are having medical, going through medical procedures in Ghana and you have a court issue, the court allows you to seek medical care. The court will not insist that because you have a case, you should leave the hospital. We've seen cases in courts where people have come with medical reports, doctors have come to testify and all these things. And in any case, the man has not even yet been charged. You are now doing your investigation. And you are asking him to come so that you question him. And he says, okay, I am seeking medical care. In reasonable time, when I'm fit, when I'm done with my procedure, I will come. I'm not running away. Then you publish that he's a fugitive. What is the meaning of a fugitive? Somebody who has run away. Or somebody who has been prosecuted in the court and has run away. In any case, if we were to talk about a fugitive, the classical definition or the classical example would be Sedinam Tamaklo. She has been prosecuted by the state, and as it stands now, she's nowhere to be found. But then, we did not even have cause to publish Sedinam Tamaklo's name that she's a fugitive. And Ken Ofori-Atta, a citizen of this country, in good standing,
can I go into the meaning of
business in this country, not any business at all. We know that he had links with Data Bank, he had links with the international community, enterprise insurance, and so on. And then you publish that he's a fugitive. What are you trying to tell the international community?
Can I say the meaning of fugitive, which
Yes.
I think that what you're saying makes a lot of sense. A person who has escaped from a place or is in hiding, especially to avoid arrest or persecution. So it means that, So it means that to avoid. So it doesn't necessarily mean that if you have been persecuted already or found guilty before you can be termed as a fugitive.
Is in two, it has two meanings. Anybody who has run away after prosecution is a fugitive.
And anybody
somebody who is
also
avoiding arrest.
Exactly.
But this is not avoiding arrest.
Okay.
This is not avoiding arrest. This is clearly on medical grounds. The person has provided letters that has notary on it. When you listen to the OSP's press conference, he said that the letter that came had 2 signatures, and that the signatures didn't indicate that it was coming from a genuine source. But the hospital involved is a reputable hospital that the OSP can cross-check. And apart from that, the 2 signatures, according to Ken Ofori-Atta's lawyers, one was from the medical doctor and one was a notary.
What could he have done to the special prosecutor for him to witch hunt?
Well, people are saying that, you know, there was a point the special prosecutor submitted a budget, and as part of that budget, he had requested for bulletproof vehicles and some things. And Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta refused it, saying that the special prosecutor cannot request for bulletproof vehicles because the budget was outrageous, and that in due time, if we commit to these things, then the IGP also come and say, my work is a dangerous position, and that I should also be granted bulletproof vehicles. And Chief Justice will come and say, yes, I also need bulletproof vehicles.
He wanted the vehicles for himself as a
yes, as a special.
The special
prosecutor. Oh, but who's going to use it? Mr. Martin Amidu was there in the office, and Mr. Martin Amidu didn't request for bulletproof vehicles. So he requested for the bulletproof.
So it's alleged that because it was
it's not alleged, it was in the
I'm saying that it's alleged that because it was not approved.
It's alleged that Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta's office leaked the budget for people to see.
Okay.
So this is a payback time for the special prosecutor. In any case, some of these cases that the special prosecutor is talking about, they have been lingering for a while now. So even when Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta was out of the office, what was holding the special prosecutor's hands from even taking these actions? And why now?
Why now? All right, Michael, I think I should ask Benjamin also his opinion on it. But when we take a look at the reasons why he is wanted, the suspect is wanted to answer charges in respect of several cases, including strategic mobilization of a GRA contract, termination of ECG BXC contract, National Cathedral payments, ambulance procurement contract, and tax refund account utilization. So these are the reasons why he is a wanted man.
But Rosemary, before Benjamin comes in, you see, the Constitution is very clear. One of the key issues that in Parliament that made us raise this issue of Ken Ofori-Atta in Parliament was the fact that the state security was used to infringe upon his rights. Because the Constitution is clear. It says, no person shall be subjected to interference with the privacy of his home or property, correspondence or communication, except in accordance with law. So if the security services want to enter your home, they have to come by your consent or by warrant.
Okay, so I think that one of the newspapers has reported that Jakpa entered Ken's house with warrant, says National Security.
As at, in Parliament.
This is not me saying. This is what the
Parliament, when Honorable, the records are there, when Honorable Mahama Yarga stood up, and that was the reason why he apologized. You see, we had cause to bring the issue to the floor, to demand for answers. And Honorable Mahama Yarga, I respect him so much. He stood up and said he would go back and get information and relay same to Parliament.
All right.
So on that fateful day, he came and he said he has gone to do his digging, and the information that he had was that the gentleman in the video was Richard Japa, and that he was sent by the National Security, but then it wasn't based on warrant. He didn't have any warrant, and that he wants to apologize.
Okay.
To Honorable Ken Ofori-Atta. That's the reason why the apology came.
Okay, but I don't know how the Overseer newspaper is saying
because
that.
nobody is against Honorable Ofori-Atta coming to answer for whatever.
I don't know this for a fact. It's just because you brought in the warrant issue that I'm letting you know that now we are.
Maybe they've now gone for a warrant.
Well, I don't know for sure.
Even if there was a warrant, the man was not in his home. You go to his house, pull a gun. I've seen the video. pull a gun, hold a gun. His children were in the house. Imagine if I'm not home, and then you visit my home, my children are in the house, you escort them with a gun. You throwing a gun around and doing this to them, that they should all get down from the house, get out of the rooms, and come out. Look at how scary it is.
Okay, you're making a good point, but I'm just saying that from what we are gathering now, this morning, we are being told that Jakpa entered Ken's house with arrest warrants, and this coming from the National Security. So if this is not true, I know National Security will definitely come out with more information on it, so you can have it. Yes, Benjamin, you wanted to make a point. Sorry about that.
Rosalind, I think that I've listened to Honorable, and quite unfortunate. I think that in this country, we were all in this country during the Kufuor era. The Honorable Victor Salome, he was sick. He was in the US seeking medical attention. When Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, then Attorney General, stated that Victor Salome was wanted for causing financial loss to the state, you know what Victor did? With a pacemaker, he flew from the US down to Ghana to come and answer whatever charges that they had against him. At the airport, he was arrested, taken to Nsawam prisons, where the family even complained that, look, the gentleman is on, the man is on a pacemaker. They said no. They put an oxygen tank with him at the Nsawam maximum prisons. When it became worse, when they realized that what they wanted they had done, then they took him to Kolebu. The rest, you know it. He died.
But Benjamin, was Victor Salome prosecuted?
Let him land. I just want him to make his point. I'm coming.
From the airport, he was taken to Nsawam prisons.
I'm saying that
he was abducted. We need to clear this.
No, that's not what he... Please, you let him finish and then you make your point. I'm begging you. No, I made you make your point. I just want him to make it. No. So, Michael, you have your time to rebut us, so please, relax. Let him... No, I beg. No. Michael, please, let him make his point. I'm begging you. Let him make his point.
I've listened to you say Ken Ofori-Atta is a very reputable businessman. He has businesses in this country.
No doubt.
But I can confidently tell you that Ken Ofori-Atta's actions and inactions have caused families to go to poverty, abject poverty.
It still doesn't change the fact that he's a reputable businessman.
Ken Ofori-Atta is one person that has caused so much loss to this country. You know, when he was talking, he says, even your parliamentarians came up and said, look, this man is not helping the cause of the country. President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, because he's the cousin, he maintained him there. Victor Salome died. He says that they go to Ken's house and then the kids are there. Why? When they went to the Honorable Jinapo's house and they put gun in front of the 6-year-old son, what did you say about it? None of you found it right that at that time, what has happened was wrong. Is Ken more Ghanaian than any other person? Look at the things that the special prosecutor has said that Ken had involved himself in. My concern is to do with the National Cathedral project. We had a president who stood on stage and said that Cathedral Media Kwebiasu Yebesi. That is what the president said. Even after the whole country said this was a misplaced priority. When you did this thing to Ken, to Victor Salome, you did it to other people as well in the NDC. None of them left this country. I listened to the former Attorney General. For me, the courage that gentleman has, if I were him, I was not going to talk again in this country. Because if
Godfred Ami?
Godfred Ami, yes. Because if you claim that Ayenini and the others are not being factual, we were in this country when he filed things and then he said he doesn't hold it to the public to explain to us. And nobody said anything. If for 8 years as an Attorney General, you have not been able to prove cases that you brought against people. I remember in the court, one day I was in court during this ambulance trial thing, and the counsel for our leader then, Atufosin, what's his name, Eduji, said that the real ambulance bus mess will be found out after Nana Addo leaves government. Today, you see, we are here. the procurement breaches that were there during the ambulance purchase. If you say Ken Ofori-Atta has done much for this country, what has he done? Somebody that has mismanaged investments of people, somebody that has single-handedly allowed enterprise insurance to do things that other companies could have done.
Like what?
Look at, we'll be coming out in few days from now, the rot that enterprise insurance, together with this gold for oil stuff, Ghanaians have not seen anything yet, because gradually, our people are beginning to appreciate the fact that the MPP has been the worst political party in the history of our country.
But Benjamin, will you agree with me that two wrongs don't make a right? The fact that it happened to Victor Salome, where unfortunately he lost his life in jail, doesn't mean that we should see it happening again. So if this man is truly sick, why don't we allow him to get better and then come back to Ghana to face whatever it is?
So when Honorable says that, he says he's not well, but within, they should give him time. When he heals, he will come. So you want to tell me that if Ken is supposed to be in the hospital for 10 years, we should wait for 10 years for him to come back and answer his questions that he's supposed to answer?
Well, Ghanaians waited for him to come back when he wasn't well.
Ghanaians didn't wait for him. The president and the MPP waited for him. Because Ghanaians, which included those 90-something parliamentarians that belonged to their party, said they didn't want Ken. So Ghanaians didn't wait for him. It was the president and the brothers and those who believed in Ken that waited for him. Rosalind, I'm not saying that it is right. But anybody that seeks to preach and say Ken has done nothing wrong, the OSP is wrong, another thing, there's a precedent. There's a precedent. And I'm saying that it is wrong for us always to apply those precedents and say it happened in the past. But this is somebody that has plunged people into abject poverty.
Fair enough, but isn't the wanted flyer a bit too extreme, though?
Well, there's a school of thought that has stated that the whole approach of the OSP, for me, is quite baffling. He was declared a fugitive, and then yesterday I see he says wanted.
Yeah, wanted, yeah.
Why don't you issue criminal summons against him? Why going through this step? If you have said you've investigated these 5 cases, and you have ample evidence to believe that he's supposed to answer questions, issue criminal summons, go to the court. So I think that the theatrics of it is very important. Rosalind, it is very important.
So you think he should be deported?
This NDC administration would not be able to execute its mandate to the people if we don't recover some of these loot.
All right, Michael, you wanted to make a point when Benjamin was speaking.
I want to make a point that Victor Salome was not abducted from the airport and sent to jail, just as Benjamin has...
but he didn't say abduction.
No, he said he was taken from airport to jail.
I was given a
Victor Salome came to Ghana,
was arrested in the church.
Went through prosecution. Went through a lot of people, even Honorable Asamoah Boateng in 2009 when Atamils came. He was arrested at the airport with his wife and children. A lot of people have gone through these things.
So Ken is not special.
So that's why we are saying Ken is not running away from the special prosecutor. Ken is into politics.
Right.
His family is into politics. When you are into politics and you're a politically exposed person, you know these things, these are excesses that happen sometimes. But to clear the issue, Victor Salome was not just sent to prison. He went through prosecution and was sentenced to 8 years imprisonment. Yes, you can talk about the sentence and all those things, but you don't just have to jump and say, like Abu Dhabi and all the others, you don't just say, oh, because they were jailed, because time has come and maybe we have forgotten, they were just taken and sent to jail, thrown in jail. No, it wasn't like that. They went through due process.
But they showed up even though they were sick, right?
Yes.
They showed up.
He flew down himself.
They showed up as to whether they were sick at the time. Because I know Adamu Sakandi, as at the time they took him to court, he was being taken to court by a farmer And we know that it wasn't just the farmer. The farmer couldn't have taken Adamu Sakande to court. It was the NDC who was behind it. They sponsored the farmer. Their lawyers did the whole thing. They took him to court. And eventually, Adamu Sakande was put in jail. Even when he was sick, they refused to release him. It was at the verge when he was going to die before the president gave him clemency. And when he came out, less than a year, he died. He was a member of parliament. He passed through the same case that Jachi Kwesin is going through. But in Jachi Kwesin's case, did we see that the state hurriedly put him in jail? No, the state took their time. They allowed him to go through the processes so that he will clear himself, if possible. Today, one of the issues that Chachuchikata brought up is that the current Attorney General, Honorable Ayine, brought up is that when he conferred with the defendants of some cases, their lawyers indicated that they want to go through the process. So when the Attorney General was clearing the various cases from court, the one withdrawal project that was going on, Chachuchikata indicated that he does not want his client's case to be removed. He wants to go through the process and clear his client because he knows the implication. If the case is removed, what is going to happen is there will be no end to it. It will be hanging there that he didn't go through the process and he was cleared by the president, or it was withdrawn.
You know, yesterday there was a video that was trending. I'll read a few comments and then we play the video for everybody to see that video, because there's a video that was trending where I think Honorable Ken Ofori-Atta granted an interview with Paul Adomotri, and he did make certain statements, and so people are now holding him by his words. Good. So we'll play that video. Timothy Anabella on Facebook says, "Good morning, Rosalind. To combat the rising incidents of hooliganism and armed robbery, it's imperative that we bolster security presence." All right, you sent it to us on WhatsApp. Thank you so much, Timothy, for sending us the message on Facebook as well. Nyansa TV says, "I think the constitutional review will do Ghana good, as Mr. Benjamin Kwashi said. The agenda reset in Ghana on the way. Greetings to Mr. Benjamin Kwashi." And he continues to say, "The former finance minister must boldly come out if he is clean. I remember when Honorable Chachuchikata was in prison during the era of J. Kufuor. He faces. This will help us build our nation. This will put public sector workers on their toes." Greetings to Mr. Benjamin Kwashi. Kiss Mr. Rebecca. Congratulations to the winners of the NDC. All right. May this election mark the beginning of the new era of progress. You sent it to us on WhatsApp as well. So I'll go on WhatsApp and see a few more comments coming in there. All right, so Master Planner Junior Kintampo says that the Council of State Elections needs to be abolished. "I don't understand why we should elect people to go and advise the president. I think the president should be given the ultimate responsibility to select his advisors. What does my brother mean that MPP is double standard? We are talking about Council of State election violence, and instead of blaming the NDC thugs and leaders who triggered the violence, he rather resorted to giving examples out of context." Master Planner says so. Good morning, Joy Prime Roslyn. You think the flyer of declaring Ken is worrying? Please, do you know the number of people and families which have been affected or who have been affected have suffered the consequences of Ken Ofori-Atta's actions? Again, for the MPP, it's always annoying to see and hear that they are the wiser people in the society than any other Ghanaian. Yesterday, Fatima Abubakar was on Wontumi TV insulting the NDC MPs. The sad thing is that even in opposition, the MPP is not learning any lessons. I hope and pray that future elections will place the NPP at 17. Oh, wow. Abbas Haruna, why will you say that?
If wishes were horses.
Good morning, Rosalind, and your respected honorable panelists. Their contributions this morning pertaining to the Council of State elections are on point, devoid of politics, especially Honorable Benjamin. He really talks like a citizen, not a spectator. Honorable Adu's interjections are worrying. But see, yes, he has to defend everything because he's here to speak on behalf of his party. Roslyn, there is no justification to the raid that took place in Ken's house. Jackpa, at that time, he went to Ken's house with military men, had no position within the security setup in Ghana. They went there without arrest or search warrant. Dr. Ayin, the AG, said in his press conference, the AG didn't know that the OSP case against Ken, and he will contact the OSP to explain his case against Ken because the OSP is under his ministry. Today, the National Security is saying they sent Jakpa, who was not part of them. Then the question is, they went there under whose instruction, the OSP or AG? Wrong is wrong. If not, call out, it will repeat, or if not called out, it will repeat itself over and over again, okay? This one said, Alhaji Hamza from Pig Farm. Good morning, Rosalind. First and foremost, Rosalind, for the respect of your viewers, let Honourable Member provide a letter that was issued out calling on members to be sworn in. According to him, he has a letter with him in the studio. Let him provide us with that letter. Number two, what was the number of members who took part in the voting in the first place? And what was the number of members who took part in the voting yesterday? And let's see whether the numbers have been increased. Please, I need answers. What is good for good is good for the gander. They have not seen anything yet. The real actions are yet to come. What is he talking about? Is Mr. Ofori-Atta more Ghanaian than any other, or he is above the law of this country? Under the NPP government, the late President Mill's home was invaded with soldiers with guns in his absence, and terrorists terrorized his wife and the family members, and all this was done without warrant. What was his position then? They should give us a break. We have a country to govern. Alhaji Hamza from Pig Farm. Good morning, Rosalie, your panelists. Please, so because the OSP did not get the bulletproof cars, you expect him, the OSP, to sit aloof for Ken to fraud the nation? Do you know the number of Ghanaians who are dead because of his actions? No wonder the NPP shall be in opposition for over 30 years. Good intentions for the country. Oh, UK1 TV. You never know. Tomorrow it could change. Good morning, Madam Rosalie. Hey, so the NDC man is telling us that without retrieving money from the former finance minister, they can't work. Ghana is indeed resetting. Did he say that though? From Baba Jibril, Guan constituency. Hey, Baba Jibril, your message is long. I always say that keep it brief for me, because if it's that long, unfortunately, I can't read it. Good morning, Joy Prime. To you and your guests, the OSP should stop disturbing us. He's doing everything just to protect his job. He knows whether the former finance minister is... Why declare him wanted? Well, he says he doesn't know, because in the letter he says that it's either he's in UK or he's in USA. So he doesn't even know of his whereabouts. Good morning, Rosalind from Awudu, Idrisu Yeji. I have my fear of 2028 general election. My reason is how NDC, even at opposition, was able to boldly their party tax security. So now in power, what is going to happen? Already His Excellency John Mahama told Ghanaians that no political party will be violent. And I don't know. He never said that no political party will be violent. No, I'm sorry. Good morning, Madam. Ken has caused Ghana, Papa. He must be arrested and collapse his data bank like he collapsed GN Bank. Last one. Good morning, Madam Host. I do agree with the OSP, but my question is why this time Ken Ofori-Atta has not been in office for 3 years? And if all these things were there to accuse him for, why not last year? That means if any of the appointee of Mahama misbehaves, unless the next government comes to power before he can take any action, is a shame. Nana Wusu, he's been in government all that while, darling. He actually has been. So he's been the finance minister, even though, you know, he wasn't too well. He was the finance minister for a very long time, until the last 5 months before elections. Yes, I said there was a video that is circulating, that we want to play that video. It's just unfortunate that it just started trending. I don't know how people manage to get it, but they always say that the internet never forgets. So if that video is ready, can we play the video? Yes, let's play the video.
Well, you're unhealthy. Yesterday you stood up for 5 hours.
2 hours. About 2 hours.
But you were in Parliament early and you were there throughout, and after you were still there. What's the state of Ken Ofori-Atta's health?
You know, I got COVID somewhere in November, and then got out of the hospital, emergency, maybe the 10th of December. You know, came home and things were pretty good. I mean, the COVID was gone. Then you began to feel jaundiced, and so feeling quite unwell. You've eventually got diagnosis that the liver was inflamed, and therefore it required, some work to determine what was really happening. So that took some time to begin to find the probable cure, which involved, steroids and all of that. So went back for review in August, and the inflammation is pretty much gone. And so they are now titrating to see how to bring the steroid down so that one can get back to a normal life. But essentially, pretty much mended, and you need to just manage your rest and sleep and exercises and some good food. Yeah.
We thank God for that.
It's good. And,
I like the last one, some good food.
Yeah, healthy food.
Does it include watching?
I think I have to be careful of oils there.
Okay.
But it's good. I mean, I think it was quite clear, the issue of prayers and intervention and all of that. So we are really grateful to God and a lot of people who held us in prayers, but clearly, the DNA is strong enough to be able to do the work that we do.
Absolutely, absolutely. Also talk about the fact that...
So he's been unwell for a while now. He's been unwell since 2020. This particular video was in 2021. And so it's been trending, and a lot of people have come out to say that even though he wasn't well, he got COVID, he got other diseases, he was on steroid, he was trying to manage it, he was still able to go through vetting for the second tenure of the NPP. He was able to work during the second tenure of the NPP. He only stepped down 5 months into elections. And so even though he wasn't well, he was available to work. And so at this point, people are saying that, okay, he's still not well, but why don't we have him, as the Office of the Special Prosecutor has requested, appearing and, telling him that I'm not well. And of course, it will just, because if you can work, you can also face the Office of the Special Prosecutor. However, let's also be fair here. Maybe his condition has gone bad, it's gotten worse, and maybe he's bedridden, and so he can't even move. That time he could move, because conditions can worsen with time. So maybe, as we are speaking, then, yes, he was sick, but he could walk, he could work, but maybe he's bedridden. You and I don't know. So maybe the condition has worsened. But anyway, when it comes to the law, I don't understand it too well. And so we have a lawyer who is joining us this morning on phone to explain more about these issues to us. He's in the person of Alfred Papa Darko, and he is with Gracia Law Consult. So good morning, Esquire.
Hello, good morning.
How are you today?
Yeah, I'm doing well.
Fantastic, and thank you so much for joining us this morning. The discussion is on the issue between the Office of the Special Prosecutor and the former Finance Minister, that's Honorable Ken Ofori-Atta. Yesterday, when a flyer was issued as a wanted man, people started questioning why the Office of the Special Prosecutor will go that far, knowing very well that Ken Ofori-Atta's the lawyers had written to him to let him know that the man was not well. And so those of us who are laymen and don't understand too much of the law, our question is, can he actually go ahead and declare him wanted even though his lawyers had written to him?
Yes, this is an issue that not everyone are on the same page. I am of the opinion that in as much as the Office of the Special Prosecutor has the powers, the arresting powers of the police, it ought also to be exercised in a manner that is fair and just, not on a whimsical and capricious basis. I mean, here you have it. You have a suspect. Let me use for want of. Okay.
Hello?
Yes. Did I say hello? Can you hear me?
Yeah, your line went off a little bit, but we can hear you now.
Okay. So here you are, you have someone who has hired lawyers to engage the Office of the Special Prosecutor. Bear in mind that what the Special Prosecutor did was to invite him. So what it meant was that there's a complaint, and based on the complaint, they saw it wise that, look, let's invite this gentleman to come and explain the issues. Now, his lawyer wrote to you to inform you the reasons why the gentleman will not be available at a particular time and gave you a tentative date. Now, with such in mind, one would have thought that the special prosecutor would have proceeded, because the lawyers were ready to offer documents and whatever that may be of assistance. So I would have thought that, well, you request for the document, you look through. If you think you are all convinced, you wait for him to be better. Obviously, it seems the special prosecutor does not believe that he's unwell, and based on the utterances of the office, he does not believe that he's not well. Now, that's fair enough. The essence of you inviting him is to hear his side. You've given him the opportunity, and he's not be forthcoming. He has not come for whatever reason. My position is that, on that note, if you think what you have is enough, you proceed to court. But to issue a warrant or to declare him wanted has a presumption that, look, this is somebody who is running away. He has not engaged any lawyers. He has not engaged anybody. I mean, he's just running away from justice. But this is somebody who was courteous enough to even hire lawyers to engage him. I mean, ordinarily, you don't get fugitives engaging lawyers to engage the police or anyone. They will run away. After I'm running away, why do I have to hire a lawyer? So my issue is that I think that the special prosecutor ought to have just proceeded to court if he thinks that he has some information that can convict him.
So just for a clarification, for him, the OSP, he can go to court even though that he hasn't seen the man yet, Ken Ofori-Atta? Is that right?
Yes, in law we have what we call trial by abstention.
Trial by abstention, okay.
So in that regard, you think that you have everything that you need, and you are convinced that the person is not ready to stand trial.
Okay.
So you just proceed to court. And it took, after all, when he comes, he is not under any obligation to speak to you. He may decide to be mute.
Right.
And that is a right that he has. He can reserve that right that, look, I'm here, but I'm not going to say any word. You understand? So, honestly, the purpose of inviting him is also for you to get his side of the story. And if then we could see to court, if any. So if he is not willing to come to court, according to the special prosecutor, I think just proceed to court. But when you declare him wanted, the impression is that
it becomes more sentimental, right?
To even speak with the special prosecutor. But the special prosecutor himself.
Oh, unfortunately, Papa's line has dropped. We hope to get him back, and he is telling us more about it. So from what Papa is saying, it's beginning to look like it's more sentimental than it really, really is.
Yeah. Rosalind, Papa made a clear point that the special prosecutor can proceed to court. And once he proceeds to court, his lawyer, Ken Ofori-Atta's lawyers will come to mount their defense. And clearly, even if you invite Ken Ofori-Atta, he will come and he may decide to exercise his right not to speak to you. And he will then have to go to the courtroom to defend himself. So as much as possible, I believe that some of the actions of the special prosecutor, I think they are sentimental, they are actions meant to shape public sentiments against Honorable Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta. I was making a point.
Papa is back online.
Okay.
Let me finish with him and I come back to you. Hello, Papa.
Yeah, hello.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. I hope the line won't drop this time round. So people feel that this is more sentimental, and as a lawyer, you also believe that this is more sentimental.
So for me, I'm not to go into sentiment. You know, the law is not about sentiment. I mean, what the law is what it is. The law is what it is. So the special, you see, when I think we all realize that, I mean, the special prosecutor appears to be doing something that, I mean, everybody says, look, we have to put people to book, suspected people of people who are suspected of committed crime should be put to book. Now, if he comes to public and announces that, look, this is what I have done, A, B, C, D, in relation to Honorable Ken Ofori-Atta, and by basis of that, I am declaring him wanted. To what end? Let's ask ourselves, to what end? To what end? Well, that's my problem. If you declare him wanted, what is the end game? It seems that the declaration of Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta as being wanted has a collateral effect. See, the effect is to compel him to come to Ghana, which I don't think we can use the law to do that.
You can't use the law to compel one to come to Ghana?
No.
Oh, okay.
You see, he declared him, please listen carefully. He declared him wanted. You see, when you declare somebody wanted, what it means is that the person is running away. That is what it means. He's running away, so he's wanted. But I am saying that this declaration of Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta has been wanted, from where I sit, is to embarrass him, is to compel him to say, okay, I'm being wanted. I have to then come back to Ghana. Whether I'm in wheelchair, whether I have to still come back to Ghana. Because ordinarily, if he is declared wanted, and as we speak, the OSP has not told us he's gone for a warrant. He has not told us that a court of competent jurisdiction has given him the permission to publish his image to the whole world that, look, this person is wanted. Then I don't know how he is wanted. And if he's wanted for what crime, what offense?
Well, he stated the offense in there, though. But
There's no offense, if you can let me know.
Okay.
What is the offense?
All right, so the offenses are here. He says that he's wanted for 1 second. Let me get you the offenses. So the offense, the reasons the suspect is wanted is to answer charges in respect of several cases, including strategic mobilization, GRA contract, termination of ECG, BXC contract, National Cathedral payments, ambulance procurement contract, and tax refund account utilization.
So that is, there's no offense quoted here.
Okay.
There's no offense
These
quoted
reasons
here.
are not offense?
They are not offensive. He's wanted to answer these issues. These are the stories that have come up. So he has to answer. You see, when we talk about offense, we are saying that, okay, you are wanted for the offense of maybe defrauding by false pretense, the offense of causing financial loss to the state, the offense of murder, the offense of, you see, these are, but from this circular, it seems he's just wanted for questioning. He's just wanted for questioning. Not for wanted for
So with the actions of the special prosecutor, is it legal or it's illegal with what he's doing?
I think the special prosecutor, by virtue of Section 10, I believe, of the criminal, the Section 10 of Act 8 I think that he has the power to arrest somebody which he reasonably suspects of having committed a crime. Reasonably suspect of having committed an offense or a crime. So in that regard, if the special prosecutor reasonably suspects that Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta has committed an offense, he can take steps to arrest him.
All right. Thank you so much.
Let me just...
Please, okay, please go ahead and yes, please.
Yes. What he cannot do is that he cannot proceed to publish his image to the whole world without a court permitting him to do so and declaring him wanted for that purpose.
So that is illegal?
It is. It is against his human rights.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Papa, for joining us. Very grateful that you could join us to explain this to us because as a layman, we didn't understand it very well. Thank you so much, Alfred Papa Darko Esquire, who is with Gracia Law Consult. And so this is what Papa is saying. We have just about 5 minutes to wrap up. So you were making your point.
Yes,
I'll give you
Rosalind,
like 2 minutes to make your point.
I need not say so much after what Papa has said. I think he stated the issues clearly. What I wanted to add lastly, I've seen people celebrating over the payment of the DDEP coupon, the fourth payment, and I'm sure Benjamin is also celebrating that John has been able to pay the fourth coupon. What is quite interesting is that after the debt exchange, Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta started to pay the coupons, but then the issues were caused at the time that he was in office. So people didn't even have cause to celebrate the payment. And we had paid about 3 coupons, almost more than 12 billion cedis. And quite interestingly, look at the celebration that's coming with the 4th coupon. Something that was ongoing. People didn't even know that the debt exchange coupons were being paid. People didn't know. So I believe the man has gone through his issues. Watching his video is very sad. Somebody who has had liver issues due to COVID. And I can say the people who were in office during the period of COVID, they took a sacrifice for this nation. Because a lot of people, public servants, civil servants, government appointees, a lot of people had issues, health issues due to COVID. People who were working at the time who were infected with COVID, some are still battling today. There are people who received COVID vaccines, and so today their blood is not clotting.
Or it's overclotting.
It's overclotting, sorry. They go to the hospital to receive infusions so that the clotting will reduce. And these people were serving the state, and today they are back home, but people don't know the pain they are going through with their families after COVID. So I think as a country, we should look at the soft side of this whole issue. Ken Ofori-Atta is not running away. He has indicated through his lawyers that I will come. I have family in Ghana. I'm not leaving my family. I'm not running out. He's 66-year-old, for God's sake. Where is he running to?
Or maybe if the special prosecutor really has a case, he has to go to court with it.
Exactly.
Okay, Benjamin.
I think that on this, Papa, I think that is an opinion that he has formed. I'm sure that the special prosecutor is a lawyer himself. I'm sure that we have reputable lawyers in this country. I'm not a lawyer, but I know that lawyers usually say that this is your opinion. You can hold your opinion until it's done. But I feel also that when you hear people say go to court, we've had a judiciary that we in the NDC have never trusted, especially a judiciary that says that you can't prove your citizenship with a birth certificate, but you can acquire a passport with a birth certificate, and that passport proves that you're a citizen. For me, it's a bit laughable, and you don't need to be a lawyer to have that logic and say that it's laughable. Early days yet, they've formed their opinion. The OSP has also said what he wants to say. If it is an offense to publish somebody's picture, like Papa has said, I'm sure that the lawyers and the law will take its course on that. On the issue of the payment of the coupons that my good friend has indicated. It's good. And I'm happy with this press release that came out. Over time, during the MPP administration, when Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, then president, had to do certain commissions, just because he will mention the name of his predecessor who did it, he doesn't. Classical example, UGMC. To go commission it and mention that it was started by his predecessor, he wouldn't do it. That is the kind of president we had. But in this release that came, it stated that some of the coupons have been paid by the previous administration. What the previous administration didn't do, I don't think that we're on the street celebrating like Ken Ofori-Atta coming back and wearing white with Bible and saying that we've gone to the IMF, we are out. We are not celebrating on the street. We are not celebrating at the ministry. What we are saying is that we are happy that the process is being followed through. And that is what governance is supposed to be about. That is what we should be doing as a people. They've paid some. It was very unfortunate that people who did nothing wrong had to have their investments go through that. So 3 payments have been made. The NDC has come. It didn't say that we are going to review. It just went ahead with the 4th payment. And I think as a people, we should be proud that gradually we are. And you see, if we plank the excesses that we have, for example, somebody was asking that I said that if we don't retrieve the loot, we will not be able to solve the problems of the country. That's not what I've said. If a total of close to 2.2 billion had gone waste, corrupt practices under NSS, if we take that money, do you know what it can do for us as a people? I think that we should pat ourselves in the on the back as Ghanaians and continue to do things that were near to the benefits of the Ghanaian people, not only politicians, because we all have a country to be proud of, and that country is Ghana.
Fantastic. Now, as we are having the show this morning, we have the Office of the Special Prosecutor listening. And so Sami Darko from the Office of the Special Prosecutor has called in, and he actually wants to rebut what Papa said. Hi, good morning, Sami.
Good morning, how are you?
I'm good. How are you too?
I'm well.
Great.
It's not a rebuttal. It's more of
an explanation.
Misinformation.
Okay.
No, to correct misinformation.
Okay. Please go ahead.
Because it's tiring to be explaining to people who should know. First of all, the OSP has done nothing illegal. 1. To declare a person as wanted, the person must have shown that he is unwilling to appear before law enforcement. You can proceed to obtain an arrest warrant if you are unable to find the person. Remember, for law enforcement agents, the law allows us to arrest you either with a warrant or without a warrant. Without a warrant is when we have reasonable cause to suspect that you have committed an offense. The reason why we go for a warrant is when it's difficult to find a person. That's when you go for a warrant. And the idea of the warrant is also to enable you to declare the person as wanted so that either law enforcement in other jurisdictions or even citizens can effect citizens' arrest when they see the person and help you get hold of that person. The OSP has fulfilled all that is legally mandated. Now, the challenge, I think, a lot of sympathizers of Mr. Ofori-Atta are finding is that I think they cannot believe that he will be declared wanted. But he is just like any other Ghanaian. If you go on the police website, go on the UCO website, OSP website, several people have been declared wanted. And when we declare you wanted, it means you are a suspect. And people have said that OSP should go to court and prosecute Mr. Ofori-Atta if they have anything against him. My sister, you can't go to court and prosecute anyone if you have not charged the person.
Right.
How do you charge a person if you have not arrested the person? And the person taken through the criminal procedure, his rights read to him, the offenses read to him, his fingerprints taken, detailed, There are a lot of processes before you go to court.
But can't you try in absentia?
No, you can never be tried in absentia if you have not been arrested and charged and placed before a court.
Okay.
Let them not confuse you or Ghanaians. Trying absentia means that you have.
I'm listening to you, Sammy. Oh my goodness. At this point, you ask yourself, why? Because I really didn't want to lose this call. I hope Sammy calls back and then continues with the explanation. We have some few minutes to go, and so I'm just keeping my fingers crossed with regards to Sammy's call.
You get it, opinions. That was one legal opinion that was given, and this is another legal opinion. My good friend and I were saying that Sedina was tried in absentia.
Yeah.
But from what he had indicated, then I remember that Sedina was going to court before she absconded.
Okay.
So she was arrested, charged.
Before she left the country.
She left and was, but I'm sure that the lawyers will explain much better.
Yeah.
That if he's saying that you cannot try somebody in absentia without arresting the person and charging the person, then the legal opinion. I know somebody will also come up with another legal opinion.
But I'm glad that the Office of the Special Prosecutor had tuned in this morning and was listening to our conversation. Very well. It means that we go far. We go far. You know, so yes, there's a video that we wanted to play as well, but I feel like if we go straight into that video, we might lose this one in particular. But you want to also say something about what Sammy Darko said?
Catches the early worms.
Yeah.
Since we start early.
Okay, Sammy is back on air. Okay, so all right, so he'll come back very soon.
Yeah, but before Sammy comes, I would like to say it's good that Sammy is coming in. We need opinions of more lawyers because at the end of the day, I think we are building a democracy and we need to build a stable democracy that is strong and not infringe on the rights of individuals and the liberties of people. So what I will encourage is that in dispensation of the special prosecutor's powers, they should, as much as possible, do it in such a way that it doesn't look like they are infringing on the rights of people to bring a lot of speculations and build these sentiments around them. Because what will happen is, with time, when these things continue, it will erode the gains and the goodwill that the special prosecutor has, and we don't expect that.
But from what Sammy is saying, it looks like they are actually going through the right route. It's not different, but probably just because he was a government official. Sammy is back. Let me just finish with Sammy. Yes, Sammy.
And please, what I'm saying is not because I work at OSP or I don't work at all. We are all lawyers.
Yeah.
What we are saying is the law.
Yeah.
Trying absentia simply means that you have charged the person has refused to attend to court, then you can be tried in absentia. Let no lawyer confuse anybody. And it's not like a law that you can have two different opinions. Trying absentia only happens when a person has been charged and refuses to attend to court. You can proceed and try the person whilst he's not there. Now, people have talked about why do you declare someone wanted, and I've said that everything boils down to one thing. Mr. Ofori-Atta has not made himself available to the OSP. Some people are, why don't you go to where? Why don't you go wherever? You cannot, for instance, OSP cannot go to America and effect an arrest in America. You'll be breaching international protocol. Somebody says, why don't you do a Zoom meeting? Do we arrest somebody through a Zoom meeting? Can you arrest someone through Zoom? Because they are all looking at it as if he's a person of interest who we need to just take information from. No. He's not a person of interest. He's a suspect. When we say you're a suspect, it means that the law enforcement agency has done its investigations and they are convinced that you are the one who committed the offense. That's why they need you. Now, you need to tell us that you are either so incapacitated that you cannot even board a flight. You are bedridden. You can't move. And so, give me time. The OSP is law-abiding. It will give you time.
But his lawyers, there's actually a statement out there that the lawyers says that they wrote to the Office of the Special Prosecutor.
We're bringing lawyers and lawyers, because I've heard them talk about lawyers and lawyers. At the OSP, we are not dealing with lawyers. We are dealing with suspects. The lawyer is only to protect his right. That is why when his lawyers wrote to us and said that Mr. Ofori-Atta is on a medical a vacation and that they can step in and provide information. We asked them, did you commit the alleged offense with Mr. Ofori-Atta? That you can answer questions for him. Because this is a criminal offense. It's not a civil matter. Civil matter, your lawyers play a lot of role. They can even be in court without you being there. But in a criminal matter, you need to be there. So if the lawyers had agreed that they did commit the alleged offense with him, then they could have been maybe arrested, questioned, and all that. All I'm trying to tell you is that Mr. Ofori-Atta has not made himself available to the OSP. And to the extent that the OSP cannot find you, they have every right in law to declare you wanted. And I've said that just don't declare people wanted for wanted sake. For instance, there's a whole process of activating Interpol and the rest, and you need to go through all the legal processes.
So you have gone through all the legal process?
We are fulfilling every legal process, and we've gone through what is fundamentally needed. For instance, some people have said, why don't you just give it to Interpol and arrest? Interpol does not arrest. Interpol is a platform to place people who you want arrested in a different way. Because remember, you cannot go there and arrest a person. They have to have certain documentation and bring, and it's not just that simple. You need to go through Foreign Affairs, Attorney General needs to come. It's a whole process. But you need to start from the process of arrest warrants and all that. Okay. And the lawyer said that OSP has not told the world that they have an arrest warrant and all that. Then they didn't listen to the press conference. The first thing the SP says that he had signed for an arrest warrant. They misconstrued it to mean that the SP is himself who just signs an arrest warrant. No, you need to appear before a court and get it. So please, the miseducation is the problem. In this country, we thrive on chaos. We thrive on creating misunderstanding. We thrive on creating the idea that somebody wants to persecute someone. The OSP, all of us agreed as Ghanaians that the existing agencies were not able to investigate and prosecute high-profile cases. That is the reason OSP was set up. And they made the OSP so independent that you cannot say it is NDC, it is MPP. Because he has 7 non-renewable tenure. And you can only remove him through an impeachment process. And people have said he wants to pander to NDC or whatever. No. Under MPP, a cabinet minister was arrested, her house searched. There have been high-profile cases under MPP. Even the current president of Ghana was investigated by this OSP. So let nobody deceive anybody. The OSP has been very professional, ethical. They said the OSP likes talking and all that. Please, my sister, if you read our laws very well, go to our regulation LI 2374. You will notice that in LI 2374, there's a whole list of activities the SP and the office needs to do. And it includes everything we are doing.
Okay,
including public education, including publishing investigative reports. The entire office is built on transparency. It says that we should let Ghanaians be aware of every step of the way. It is not those who are occupying the office currently that are doing that. They are only fleshing out the law establishing the office. No other law.
So you know, Sammy, when we spoke with Papa, he did mention that there's no particular offense that's attributed to the former finance minister. So I just want to know, what is his offense?
OSP investigates only one offense. OSP investigates only one offense.
Okay.
What is the offense? Corruption.
All right.
Right? People forget that we are a specialized agency. That's why a lot of, in this country, every offense committed by a politician is called corruption. Are you aware?
Right.
Because we use the word corruption loosely. When OSP said that we cannot investigate money laundering, people were asking, why is the OSP saying they can't investigate money laundering? Because money laundering is not within our jurisdiction. Ours is corruption. But someone sitting down broadly knows that money laundering is a form of corruption. But corruption in Ghana is well defined in our law. If you go to our act, I think if you read our section 70, just 1 second. If you read 79, it will tell you what corruption and corruption-related offenses are. So they are very specific. And please, the point is that we have not charged Mr. Ofori-Atta because he has not come before us.
Okay. And this is not witch hunts either.
And the last one I would say is that this whole idea as if we have been unfair to Mr. Ofori-Atta is also not grounded. We have said that neither Mr. Ofori-Atta nor his lawyers have been able to tell us that, one, for a law enforcement agency to give you time, you must convince them why they should give you time. Okay. And I'll finish with this. For instance, Mr. Ofori-Atta has just given a conjecture. He could have said that I'm receiving treatment here, but I'm incapacitated, I'm invalid, which means I cannot even travel for 5 minutes. It means if I sit on a plane back to Ghana, I will die.
Okay.
In those respects, they are so grave that you can give a person time. Or all the processes I'm doing, it will take me 3 months. And so, tentatively, give me maybe the 4th of April, I'll be in Ghana and attend to you. These things I've said, my sister, has never been communicated to OSP.
Okay, so you don't know, you don't know his whereabouts, you don't know the hospital that he's in, and you don't know when he will appear. Those are the reasons why you have declared him wanted, in a nutshell.
Have you seen that sometimes you have an idea of where a person is, even the person was in a hospital? It's immaterial. What matters is that law enforcement agency needs your attendance. And don't make it as if this is the first time. There are people here in Ghana. They are receiving treatment in Kolebu. They have to attend to police every three days. There are people here receiving treatment in hospital. They have to attend to court to stand trial. We are saying that unless you're unable to move, unless you're unable to do anything.
Okay.
But if you want to tell us that maybe what is happening will inconvenience you, that is not our job. And I've heard some people say that he gave notice to the chief of staff, under Nanado's administration, because 2nd January, Nanado was still in power. And then he subsequently informed the current chief of staff. How has that got to do with the OSP? That is you fulfilling certain protocol for diplomatic gender. When police needs you, you need to attend to police. Okay. That is no excuse.
Fantastic. Sami, I just want clarification on this. So what you want from the lawyers that would have put you at peace is exactly where he is, right? The hospital that he is in, his condition, and when he will appear before the special prosecutor. Those things, if had been communicated, that's not it? Okay.
That's not it. We don't need anything from his lawyers. We need something from Mr. Ofori-Atta, not his lawyers.
Okay.
We need Mr. Ofori-Atta to tell us why he cannot come to Ghana.
Okay.
Right? And that means 2 things, I said. You are either invalid. When we say invalid, just the grammar. It's just like when the SP use fugitive of justice. People confuse it to mean a criminal fugitive. Fugitive from justice is simply a person who is not making himself available for legal processes, including, say, arrest.
Okay.
You are either invalid, and I explained to you that invalid means that you cannot move, you cannot travel.
Which he has to show proof.
That is going to affect your health.
All right.
He has not shown us that. 2, you are either...
Oh, my goodness. Anyway, I think he has explained it better. This is Sami Darko Esquire, and he called us from the Office of the Special Prosecutor. He was listening in to the interview earlier, and he decided to call to give us more clarification on the issue at hand. And so I'll give you 1 minute each to, wrap up and then we can go.
I think with Sami's explanation, what I'm picking is that they just need the man in whole.
Yeah, that's what he's saying.
Yeah, so even whether he's invalid or not, it doesn't still hold, because from the comments that he made, they need him in whole so that he can appear before them. But then we also have to admit that there are health situations where you go under monitoring, because you need to be monitored for the doctors to be able to ascertain the real issue before they even put you under knife. So when the man says, I'm going through a process and that I'll come in due time, it does not mean because maybe he can walk, he has to come. If you are not careful, you can force him to come and he'll come and something will happen to him and it will be on your head.
But I think his last point, Sami Darko's last point was clear, right?
It would be better we allow him. No, Sami made the point that he should communicate to them
Directly. Exactly.
The man has communicated the hospital he's in.
No, he says they don't know.
No, he has communicated the hospital.
He says
it's out.
They don't know.
It's out. The letter that the lawyer submitted had the hospital in it. What Sami is trying to say is that he should communicate
directly.
when whether it's from his lawyers or directly, it's from him. Okay.
Sami says
no,
it's
his lawyers. Yes, he made his lawyers.
He says until the lawyers agree that they were part of it,
but
they
still,
cannot be the ones.
No. So what Sami is trying to do is he's using the law, trying to say that we disregard all the communication that has gone on with chief of staff and everything. That's your protocol.
Diplomacy.
Okay, that's diplomacy. Yeah. I'm waiting for your letter.
Yeah.
But in other words, he has right to representation. And his lawyers they've written to you that where he is, this is the hospital he's in, he's seeking medical care.
I think earlier,
the details that Sami is looking for.
I think the first call that we got from Sami, there was more clarification on it, telling us that, and if I'm wrong, please, my producers are listening, please correct me in my ears. From what he said, yes, the lawyers are there to represent. However, because the lawyers are not a part of the criminal act, as they indicate, the lawyers are not to represent. And so when the lawyers wrote to them, they told the lawyers that if you are part, let us know, then we can hear from you. If not, we want the man himself, the fugitive himself.
What the lawyers are doing is what we call correspondence. When it comes to correspondence, your lawyers can do it on your behalf. What Sami is saying here is, when it comes to representation as to somebody speaking on the issues that they are looking for, Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta should make himself available.
Okay, let me go to Benjamin and then we can...
Very brief. He made a very good point that I think that we should look at. We are all saying Ken is a high-profile person. Mm-hmm. Like Sami indicated, there are processes that they've gone through with other people that have been declared. I heard Papa saying that you could not use somebody's picture, declare them wanted. But you see, Sami has clarified it. It is not so. What will Papa say to other pictures that are on the website of all those investigative bodies? So let's take out the sentiment. Let's not say that President Mahama said something yesterday. He says every political appointee should know that on any day and any time, you'll be held accountable. We are all under the Constitution of the Republic. We know what legal basis or the framework that a special prosecutor was brought into office. So I think that let's allow the special prosecutor do what he has to do. I don't think that is any personal vendetta. I don't think that they have any personal case against the Honorable Ken Ofori-Atta. And I'm sure that if we do this, like my good friend said when we started, let's not pick and choose. Once we do it to everybody, the next politician that will be picked up will not come and sit here and say that their children are traumatized, because we'll know that your children will be traumatized if you don't do things according to the law.
Well, this is all time will permit us for this particular segment. This has been proudly brought to you by Franco Trading Enterprise, still and still phone Papa Perfie. As of now, the former finance minister is a wanted man by the Office of the Special Prosecutor. And those of you who sent in your messages, we are super grateful. Thank you so much to our lawyers that also joined us this morning. We had two lawyers joining us to explain things better to us, because like I said, as a layman, you'll be wondering, how does it work? And we have so many people having conversations behind the scenes without understanding it. So Alfred Papadakwa, who is a lawyer with the Gracia Law Consult, called us and told us one side, and then Sami Darko from the Office of the Special Prosecutor, another lawyer, also called us to explain and clarify things to us better. So now if you're home and you're wondering why there's former finance minister is a wanted man, now you understand. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for making time to spend with us this morning. We've taken a lot of your time, but we do appreciate that you made the time. So thank you so much, Honorable Michael Edu, for being here this morning, and he represented the NPP, and Mr. Benjamin Kwashi represented the NDC this morning. Thank you so much, Mr. Benjamin Kwashi.
Newsflash was brought to you by Franco Trading Enterprise. Still, fun papa fie.